gotta love this. I love it. You can't beat it, baby. Oh, man. I'll run this big fool. Look and see well.
All right, Latrell Sprewell, Vince Carter, both obviously excited about tonight's get-together. Just a couple of guys getting together to talk basketball prior to the All-Star game. Let's go over to Jim Gray with the West coach, Rick Adelman.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. Rick, is this difficult tonight, dividing up the playing time? A lot of guys want to play, some are hurt. You got big guys and so forth.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to try to get everybody in the first half and then go from there.
I guess if you had this group all the time, no coach would ever lose their job. Is it an easy game to coach?
It's an easy game. We looked at the bench, see the players we have. It's not too hard to substitute.
All right, Rick, we'll check in with you throughout the night. Good luck. Okay. All right, let's go down to Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks a lot. I'm with Grant Hill, and it's so odd to see you standing here on crutches. It must be disappointing. Talk about how tough it is to watch, Grant.
It's been tough. It's been a tough year, but actually being here is kind of therapeutic, hanging out with the guys, and this incentivized me to get healthy and get back out here next year.
It seems like you got into the entire part of this thing. You were back in the training room hanging out with the guys. You've been in the locker room talking with them. What can you share, even though you're not able to play?
Well, these guys are great guys, and the guys just have fun. They're coming out here tonight, put on a show, and these guys, the West guys beat us last year, so we're going to go out there and try to win, and hopefully we'll do well.
All right, and good luck in your recovery, Grant. All right, Marv?
All right, thanks, Lewis. Grant Hill grew up in nearby Reston, Virginia, and had been looking forward to playing in an All-Star game at his hometown, but that season-ending ankle surgery has put him on the sidelines. The officials, Dan Crawford working his second All-Star game, Ed F. Rush, Don Vaden working in their first. Doug, the East overall has the edge 31-18 last season in Oakland. West beat the East 137-126. The East had won the previous 3 games.
Marv, the thing I love so much about this is about a week before the All-Star game, you'll always hear guys posturing about, I'm tired. I could use the rest. I really don't want to go there. And then you see these guys get here and the smile on their face. They get in that locker room and the adrenaline rush of coming out and performing against the best players in the NBA. It's a high you can't even explain, and it's fun to see these guys. This is going to be fun for them.
Last year, Tim Duncan and Shaquille O'Neal shared MVP honors. Tim Duncan once again in the starting lineup for the West.
How about that starting front like Garnett, Duncan, and Webber for the West? You don't even have Shaq out there. You see Rasheed Wallace, McDyess. The list goes on and on that front line.
And here's Allen Iverson out of Georgetown, and a huge favorite of this area to Vince Carter. And Jason Kidd with the rebound. Kidd being played by Iverson. We're just underway. Garnett over Carter. And last touch by Garnett.
Well, you could see there in the first possessions, Vince Carter tries to take Garnett out on the floor. Garnett tries to take Vince Carter inside. That's exactly what you have to do with a size mismatch.
Iverson to the fadeaway. And here's Kobe Bryant. Kobe bothered by the right shoulder. The right hip injuries. Remained an extra day in Los Angeles to receive treatment. Bryant. Rejected by McGrady.
I really believe that when Tracy McGrady gets Grant Hill back, you're going to see his level of defense go up and up and up. Right now, he has to do so much for this team offensively that sometimes on the defensive end, Marv, you see him slide a little bit. Not today. You'll see him play tough defense.
Garnett. And that is the first field goal of the night. Allen Iverson having an outstanding season, one of the leading contenders for most valuable player honors. Tracy McGrady of the Orlando Magic. A look for the back door. He thought Antonio Davis would be cutting, but he was not. Antonio Davis of the Raptors, a late addition, replacing the injured Theo Ratliff of the Sixers. The East starting center is out with that stress fracture. Chris Webber. And here comes Iverson in the open floor. Iverson, nice feed. Oh, it's rejected. He tried to set up McGrady, but Duncan scripted him.
Well, when he brought that ball back, Duncan was waiting as he exposed it. This is exactly what the East wants to do, run. But remember, we talked in our open, these big men can run as well. Duncan gets back and gets a great block.
Iverson to the crossover. Iverson to the fadeaway. And Anthony Mason able to keep it alive. McGrady, he thought he had Mason. Miscommunication. But we are actually seeing some defensive play here in the early going.
Absolutely, your pride comes out. All the East has heard is how big these guys are from the West. They're saying, we're going to lock into these guys, not let them put it on the floor.
Duncan off the backdoor setup from Bryant.
Well, it's really good to see him healthy once again, Marv. He is starting now to really put San Antonio in a position where people are talking about possibly getting back to that NBA championship level again.
Kidd lays it up for Bryant. And Kobe not able to put it down. Bryant went behind the back, and Weber was hit. Foul on the reach-in. Foul committed by Carter. Doug, you took part in 4 All-Star games. One memorable one. The late 70s,
yes,
where you gave way to John Havlicek. You were voted the starter, and Hondo was at the end of his career.
It was actually
gracious of you.
Well, actually, you're talking about Philly-Boston rivalry there, too, in the days when that was a very, very heated rivalry. And Marv, John was always one of my favorite players, and to have the opportunity to do that, and I'll never forget it, because anytime I went back to Boston forever, it was like I was a Celtic almost, and that's hard when you're wearing that Sixer jersey. But a great thrill for me, and John, all-time great player.
It is a 5-0 lead for the West. Anthony Mason has been the MVP of the Miami Heat. Allen Iverson. Crowd rooting so hard for Iverson to get going. Kidd. Beautifully done by Jason Kidd.
Actually, very good defense, and he was so good he was able to recover. I don't know who it was that time from the East to be able to get him deflected, but Jason Kidd recovers it and is able to get the layup.
Carter. The chip is missed, and the East not able to hit on their first 6 shot attempts. Nice pass from Kidd to set it up for Duncan. Jason Kidd leads the NBA in assists. As he did last year, he's averaging 10 assists per game.
You see Anthony Mason with a good hands there, knocks that ball loose, but Jason Kidd, great concentration and recovery. I tell you, it's amazing. You look at this West team, and you've got Jason Kidd pushing the ball up the floor on one wing. It was Weber on the other, Duncan. 2 guys who could play small forward, power forward, or center. So you're not talking about the prototypical big guy. You're talking about guys who can play multiple positions.
Well, the West in front by the count of 9-0. Here's Iverson. Well, he thought he had McGrady breaking for the basket. Duncan got the step, able to beat Davis.
Boy, have we seen his confidence grow, Marv, in the last 3 weeks.
And Garnett back to break it up. Yes, Tim Duncan started slowly, recovering from that knee surgery, but has come on strong. The Spurs have won 8 of the last 9. And more good news, they're expecting Sean Elliott and Avery Johnson back in short time.
Well, Tim Duncan on the great handle, slices between 2 defenders, kisses the ball off with his left hand. The West off to a great start, 11-0.
Right behind. Woo! So this fuck, I couldn't get it up. Man, I'm getting old, man. I would have got that more. Huh? I would have got that a couple years ago.
Yes, he would have made the play a couple of years ago, that old timer.
Yeah, it's not the age, Kobe, it's the miles. When you've been in the league already about 5 years, you start to get the wear and tear.
And finally, the East is on the board. Antonio Davis with the tip. The East having difficulties handling the ball. They've turned it over 5 times at the start. Iverson with 3 turnovers. West up 11-2. Again, the alley-oop attempted. Here comes Iverson. Iverson recovered by Carter. Problem with the East, they're trying to set each other up, and they're making the extra pass, and they're hurting themselves.
Well, Mark, when you coach the game, the one thing you try to tell the guys is don't get sloppy, don't play out of character. But if a good play is there, try to make it. But see, there's the nice little bounce pass, not an alley-oop, not in traffic. Those are the plays you want to make. When you try to get sensational, the game will get sloppy. And I'm sure Larry Brown, in his words, said, you know what, guys, play the game the right way. If you have a shot, take it.
Oh, Kidd saw that coming. McGrady is back. And Kidd puts it off the glass for Bryant.
There's another example right there. McGrady read that all the way.
Mason has a 3-on-2. Mason. Put up. And Weber controls. One-time Washington Bullet Chris Weber puts it up for Kevin Garnett.
Simple play. Get the ball to Chris Weber in the middle. Let him throw a little alley-oop to Kevin Garnett. These guys are so good.
West with a commanding 15-2 lead with 6:45 remaining in the first. Mason. Iverson with the open shot. And put home by Carter. Vince Carter in recent weeks bothered by what is called jumper's knee, but that troubled left knee coming around, illustrated by his high-flying 31-point performance against Denver the other night. Weber with the look away, broken up, and the West will maintain possession. Chris Weber in his second All-Star appearance with Sacramento, also an All-Star with Washington. So the West adding to the lead. Kobe Bryant with his first field goal. Doug, for Chris Weber, it's a return to Washington where he's had some of his best, some of his worst days.
I'm sure it's sort of a bittersweet moment as we see Iverson with a fadeaway. You know, Chris Weber, in leaving Washington, it was sort of a signal that he, had sort of failed here. And he's gone to Sacramento, and he's played great. Now Sacramento is holding their breath. He's a free agent. They're playing very, very well. They're a force in the West, maybe a contender to get out of the Western Conference, and they're holding their breath that he doesn't leave after his free agent year. So Chris Weber very much in the news all season long with his free agency.
Davis with the open shot. Antonio Davis in the starting lineup. Dikembe Mutombo is the backup, but he's bothered by a sprained foot. We'll see Dikembe later on. 5.5 remaining in this opening quarter. Duncan had the baseline closed. Here's Bryant for three. And Carter finds Iverson.
Where you at, Tracy?
Carter. Bryant for Kidd. Intercepted by Iverson. 3-on-2. Iverson to the reverse.
Little pass to himself in the air. Allen Iverson thrilling the home crowd here as he went to Georgetown. Another steal. Game getting very sloppy. Weber steals it back. And then the pin block by Davis. Little play-by-play here, Marv. Things are going so fast.
And then Kobe Bryant able to drill it. Doug, you do an excellent job.
I think I'll stick with what I do best, Coach.
All right, the West 20 and the East 8. Iverson for Carter and a foul on Duncan.
The greatness of the NBA game is in the open court, and this is what people love to see. The spectacular athletes, their ability to get in that lane, hang in the air. You see the self-pass, the ball off the glass, kisses it in. Great play there by Allen Iverson.
Antonio Davis has come out firing here in this first quarter.
He says, I'm not going to get to play a whole lot. I'm going to get my shots in early.
Garnett. And Duncan with the putback. Tim Duncan of the San Antonio Spurs with 8 points. He was the co-MVP last season. Iverson. Allen Iverson beginning to heat up. He now has 6 points. West by 12. And Larry Brown, the East coach, about to send out some substitutions. Kobe Bryant with a dribbling exhibition that was broken up by Tracy McGrady.
Well, we've seen 2 spectacular plays by Allen Iverson already, playing off the ball. Look at the shot. Actually, his body is behind the backboard. He takes it over to his right hand, all in one motion. Lays that ball up over the front of the rim and knocks it in. What a sensational shot by Allen Iverson.
And a new 5 on the court for the East. Allen Houston with Stephon Marbury, Ray Allen, Dikembe Mutombo, and Len Big Dog Robinson. So the East going with a 3-guard alignment. Here's Duncan Weber keeping it alive. Weber stopped by Mutombo. Gary Payton, who just checked in, able to recover. And here's Weber. Chris Weber with the reverse. So Weber with 5 points.
Well, Mark Megan, we talked in our open about in order to run, you got to rebound the ball or you got to create some turnovers. That time, the West just playing volleyball on the backboard before Weber got one to go.
How about this matchup? Chris Weber defending on Allen Houston, who was able to hit the three-pointer. Allen Houston did not have the touch, unfortunately, last night in the shootout competition, but comes out and is able to fire and hit. Rasheed Wallace just checked in. A steal by Ray Allen. Has Marbury with him. Marbury back for Allen. Robinson. Coming up on 2.5 remaining in this first quarter from the MCI Center in Washington. Nice play. Finley comes up short. Michael Finley of the Dallas Mavericks with his first field goal.
How about the passing between the big men? Weber to Duncan to Rasheed, finally to Finley on the cut. Great passing.
Stephon Marbury, who is so excited to be here, his first ever NBA All-Star game, and is able to hit. Stephon Marbury of the New Jersey Nets, who have won their last 3, and Stephon coming off a big game the other night. 2 of those 3 wins against Philadelphia and San Antonio. Timeout taken. Welcome back to Washington. A moment ago, Kobe Bryant going up against Tracy McGrady, a matchup of 2 of the youngest players in the game. Watch this.
The Kobe-Tracy McGrady matchup, serious matchup. You know what, there's one-upsmanship there, so be aware of that because it's pretty intense.
Well, we've seen it early. Tracy McGrady has really tried to lock in on Kobe Bryant. Now, remember, these guys, East and West, only play each other twice a year, so when you get a chance to test it out against the best in the other conference, you know, sometimes you want to find out what that guy's got. That's been a good matchup.
Gary Payton not able to hit David Robinson in his 10th All-Star game appearance on the floor for the first time. Here comes Marbury kicking it out. Ray Allen. Allen Houston trying to keep it alive. Ray Allen won the shootout last night. He was on fire. Rasheed Wallace. Payton for Finley. Michael Finley of the Mavericks. And a foul is called. Antonio McDyess coming over the back. The East picking it up. They started at 1 of 11 from the field, then 6 for 10 to turn things around. The West now leading 26-15.
Mark, they have 8 turnovers by really trying to make the extra pass. When the shot is there, just go up and take it. Then you get a chance to rebound it if you miss the shot. Right now, they're overpassing.
Ray Allen being guarded by the much taller Antonio McDyess. So Larry Brown looking for the mismatches in his favor by going with the 3-guard setup, and Ray Allen with his first field goal. So it's a 26-17 Western Conference lead.
Well, those are the shots they're going to have to make because they're not going to be able to post up against the West. And David Robinson has really added that to his game as he's gotten older. He's been able to step out on the floor. He's a perfect complement now to Duncan because he can make that shot.
David Robinson just loves the fact that he's playing in the All-Star game here in Washington. He's from nearby Manassas, Virginia, attended the Naval Academy. Payton, rebounded by Mutombo. Allen with the lead pass. Marbury is fouled.
Now, Stephon Marbury, I thought it was a really neat story, Marv, that I read today. Stephon did not think he was going to make the All-Star team. Had bought tickets for he and his wife, his fiance, to be able to go on a trip over the All-Star break. He found out he could not go, gave the tickets away to Nets game, and then the winner of those tickets actually gave it to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So nice gesture by Stephon Marbury as he couldn't go on the vacation, and he loves being here. But I thought it was a wonderful gesture on his part.
And he talked about getting the call from Rob Thorne, the president of the New Jersey Nets, on a cell phone on the road in Vancouver. And he was told that he made the All-Star team. And he said, God, thank you. Not referring to Rob. Marbury turns it over. Payton with the pass to McDyess, finding Robinson.
You know, Antonio McDyess is a guy who I think probably grew as much from his Olympic experience last summer as anybody on that team. He has come back more confident. He's a guy that you can go to at the end of the game. His whole game is picked up, I think, just by being on that team this summer.
Final seconds of the quarter. Mutombo on the recovery, but step out of bounds. And Antonio McDyess's Denver Nuggets have turned it dramatically since that early season turmoil. Final seconds of the first quarter. Here is McDyess. Fast start by the West. At one point, they were up 11-0. And after one here in Washington, it's the West 30 and the East 17. You're watching the 50th NBA All-Star Game on NBC. Welcome back to the MCI Center, Washington, D.C. After one, it's the West 30, the East 17. Let's check in with Lewis Johnson and Allen Iverson.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mark. Allen, for an NBA player, this looks like it must be the ultimate playground experience, especially the way you're playing so far.
It is. I mean, it's time to come out here and have fun. I didn't get a chance to throw Vince a lob yet, and I've been telling my son I was gonna throw a lob and let him see it, at home, but I ain't have a chance to get to do it yet.
Well, we've got 3 quarters to go. You know, the way you're playing, I've got to think that maybe you're thinking about the MVP here tonight.
No, I'm not thinking about no MVP because anybody that get MVP, I'm gonna be a part of it anyway, just by being involved in the event. So I'm not thinking about that. I'm trying to get a win, man.
All right, thanks a lot. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Lewis. How about that move by Allen Iverson, Chris?
Yeah, he stole that from Isaiah. That's an Isaiah Thomas 1987 move, and that's nice. But no, that was a nice move he did.
Yeah, you know that stuff.
You know what I mean?
How about the wide open nature of this game? You guys have jumped out here to a big lead. It's difficult to hold that type of lead throughout a game like this, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but we got a lot of big fellas, and our big fellas are mobile, so we can run and block shots. So that's all we're trying to do is they're going to have to shoot their way into the game or out of the game. We're just trying to take it inside and block some shots.
All right, Chris, we'll talk to you in a bit.
All right, thanks.
Marv?
Thanks, Jim. And the big fellas on the court for the West, Antonio McDyess, Rasheed Wallace, and David Robinson, along with the guards, Gary Payton and Michael Finley. And Finley fouled by Marbury will go to the line. Michael Finley of the Dallas Mavericks in his second All-Star appearance. A reminder, you can log on to NBA.com and cast your vote for the NBA All-Star 2001 Most Valuable Player. The winner will be announced at the end of the game. Also, create your own All-Star highlight reel from today's game or past All-Star games on what is entitled My Highlights. That's NBA.com. Ray Allen on a pull-up, and Ray Allen has had the touch.
Well, he really has that nice pull-up jumper. He can shoot the 3, but he has the ability to put that ball on the floor. He has such great legs. He can stop and explode into that little medium-range jump shot. More of that's a lost art. You see guys get all the way to the basket maybe for the dunk, or you see the long shot. But watch him here as he drives. He's got a bigger guy on him. He stops, and the moment he does, look at the space he creates with that stop. He goes right up into his jump shot. That's a nice move.
Been a nice couple of days for Ray. Michael Finley puts it down. Last night, Ray Allen won the shootout. $25,000 first prize money sizzling from downtown. Stephon Marbury of the Nets, Ray Allen of the Bucks, Allen Houston of the Knicks on the floor, along with Dikembe Mutombo of Atlanta. Mutombo with the rebound and draws the foul, and Glenn Robinson of the Bucks. The 2 big men on Mutombo and Robinson. Robinson called for the foul, so Dikembe to the line. Leads the NBA in rebounding, averaging 14 among the leaders in block shots. And Doug, as you know, at the start of the season, the subject of much trade speculation. Things did quiet down, but that trade deadline is coming up February the 22nd.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. Will Atlanta keep him through the rest of the year and then decide maybe this summer if they're going to re-sign him once again or sign him and trade him? They have a lot of options, but as it's getting close, his name is going to continue to be out there, especially for teams who need a big guy if they wanted to contend for the championship against the bigger West.
Robinson met by Mutombo. Call for the foul. Got a piece on Robinson. Minute and a half gone by in the second quarter. It's the West 34 and the East 21. David Robinson in his 12th NBA season. He's been an MVP. He's led the league in scoring, 29.8 per game. That was back in 93-94. He's been Defensive Player of the Year. He's been Rookie of the Year. He's appeared in 3 different Olympic Games. What a magnificent career.
And how about the last game of the season, the 1 year against the Clippers, to win the scoring title, scored 71 points. So you see him now and you think, man, that guy at one point in time, 71 points. That is a ton of points, Marv.
And has pulled back his game in recent years, although had to pick it up again last season when Tim Duncan was hit by injuries. Here's Finley.
And Michael Finley out of Proviso East High School in Chicago. I watched him grow up. What a terrific high school player. Went to Wisconsin, struggled his senior year, slipped in the draft down to the 20s. But has he worked on his game and become a tremendous player?
Rasheed Wallace defending on Allen Houston. Ray Allen for 3.
When you talk about the great show that Ray Allen put on last night, Marv, I did the three-point shooting competition when Craig Hodges hit 19 straight.
Ray Allen had a streak 10 in a row at one point last night. Robinson with the save. Dallas owner Mark Cuban says that Michael Finley is the most underappreciated star in the NBA, but has certainly been getting the respect the last couple of years. Robinson strip. And here comes Allen. Marbury puts it up for Allen.
There's another guy who this summer in the Olympics was sensational. Every single game you could count on him being one of the better players on the floor for that Olympic team. And his game now in Milwaukee, these guys have a chance now. He and Ray Allen and Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell, talking about possibly getting out of the Eastern Conference.
Marbury. Stephon Marbury blowing the layup. 37-26. The West with the lead. Here's Finley. Allen off the break, whipping by Wallace.
Ray Allen has given his team a huge lift as they're climbing back into this game, now down only 9. So their fast breaks starting to get clicked in here as they're rebounding the ball and, more importantly, not turning it over.
7 unanswered points by the East. McDyess. And Allen Houston out of the pack. Stephon Marbury. Allen with a hot hand. Gary Payton of the Seattle Sonics. Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace, who has become the go-to guy for the Portland Trailblazers, who now have the best record in the Western Conference.
Well, Mark, the one thing you don't do is you don't challenge Mutombo. Look at McDyess. It looks like he's got a jumper, and Mutombo said, bring that in here. He said, no. I think I'll kick it out for a jumper. And what did Kobe Bryant have to say about this?
They won't go in there with Mount Mutombo, huh? Man, I'm climbing Mount Mutombo today. Nobody want to go at it.
Well, Dikembe has helped change things, altering shots in the second quarter, and Ray Allen supplying the offense. 9 of his 11 scored here in the second. In fact, Ray Allen with 9 of the East 11 points in the second quarter, and with 7.5 remaining in the quarter, the West now leads 39-28.
Well, out of that timeout, Larry Brown set up a nice little reverse for Jerry Stackhouse. Had the play, but just couldn't quite finish it.
Latrell Sprewell and Jerry Stackhouse on the floor for the first time for the East. Lonnie Divac, Karl Malone have checked in for the West. So Payton and Finley in the backcourt. Malone, Divac, and Wallace up front. Here's Malone. Way off. Mutombo with the rebound. Glenn Big Dog Robinson of the Bucks. Robinson off the spin. Robinson able to hit, and it's 39-30.
One of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA.
Finley, Michael Finley off the turn. He has 10 points.
You think growing up in Chicago, he watched that little fadeaway from Michael Jordan. He loves that little fading shot. You can't block it. You just got to hope that he misses it.
Houston and Stackhouse now in the backcourt. Houston taking it to the basket. That is not a shot out of the usual Allen Houston arsenal.
You don't think Jeff liked that, Van Gundy?
Vonnie Divac who was a late addition to the Western Conference squad to replace the injured Shaquille O'Neal. Vladdy just recently celebrated his 33rd birthday. This is his first ever All-Star appearance. Here's Malone. 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, Jim Gray, Lewis Johnson from Washington. Loose ball foul is called. It's on the West.
As you can see, they serious. The West not playing around.
And that's got to be the first time in an All-Star game somebody jumped out to an 11-0 lead.
Yeah.
That has to be the first. It has to be the first.
High-level statistical conversation between Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett. We're going back to the record books. That's Jerry Stackhouse is set up by Latrell Sprewell, but we'll try to track it down as the West opened up 11-0, and Kobe citing historical stats. West now leads 43-32. Here's Rasheed Wallace coming up on 5.5 remaining in the first half. Allen Houston now working with his New York Knicks teammate Latrell Sprewell. Beautiful look-away pass from Houston to Davis.
Well, the East starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm now. And Marvin, the big thing is they're making one crisp pass and then taking the shot that's there.
West trying to swing the ball to set it up. Kid's pass not handled by Wallace. And here comes Vince Carter replacing Allen Houston.
Allen Houston with a great little look-away pass, and Antonio Davis finally shakes loose underneath the basket to get a dunk. Antonio Davis was the fill-in for Theo Radliff, who has a fractured wrist, will be out 4 to 6 weeks, so it's a tough break for Philly, once again dealing with injuries as Vince Carter with his highlight film. That's something they wanted to see last night, and Vince said he'll show it today.
Kobe Bryant being played by Anthony Mason. And here's Kobe. So Kobe Bryant with 7 points. And here's Latrell Sprewell, who upon occasion for the Knicks played point guard when Jeff Van Gundy went with the big lineup. And he's at the point here for the Eastern All-Stars.
Actually did a nice job. And when we talked to him, Mark, we did a couple games, he talked about how it helped his game. But Vince Carter gets baseline, and big guys don't get over there soon enough. Kobe said, "Where is my help?" And they go, "We're not helping you on this." And his partner in Shaq, who normally guards the basket, you watch his reaction. He throws Gary Payton back, and he says, "Whoa, that's nasty."
Doug, that would have won the slam dunk
yes, it would have.
Last night. They would have closed it up. Sprewell fouled by Kidd. Latrell Sprewell, who is now 2.5 years removed from his episode with P.J. Carlesimo, and hopes that he's come full circle with this All-Star selection. He has handled himself extremely well in New York, emerging as the team's most popular player and guy who has been outstanding at his time with the New York Knicks. And talking with P.J. earlier, and I know the guys touched on it right at the start of the show, P.J. is hoping that they can eventually get together and put some closure to the entire scenario.
Well, Marvin needs to be closed because it's still a topic of conversation, but they're going to have to get somewhere where they can sit down. It's going to be a conversation. It's not going to be in passing, 5 or 10 minutes. It's going to be something they can sit down and talk about. And Latrell Sprewell knows in his heart that regardless of all the redemption and all that he's got in New York City, that you can never do something like that. And he's learned from it, and he's moving forward. And you know what? PJ has handled it like a real champ, too.
West up by 8. They've led by as many as 16. Nice pass from Bryant. Chris Webber does the rest. 7 points for the Sacramento King, Chris Webber. And here's Carter from deep. Jason Kidd trying to lead Kevin Garnett. It's handled by Karl Malone. That time the extra pass cost. The ball back to the East. Tim Duncan being waved on. He'll check back in, replacing Karl Malone. Karl Malone averaging 23 points a game. Went through that wicked 7-game slump. He's worked his way out of it. Latrell Sprewell with his first field goal.
That's his game, slashing and cutting, getting to that basket. Today he's got to go up against about 3 shot blockers when he gets inside. That was a terrific shot.
8-point West lead. Here's Bryant. Not able to find the angle. So the East has been able to work its way back into this game. They were down 11-0 at the start. They trailed by as many as 16. Davis. Antonio Davis with his third field goal. He has 6 points. It's now 47-41. Just under 3 to go in the half. Nice pass. Bryant for Duncan. And he's fouled.
The beauty of basketball, Mark, the passing, the movement away, the cutting, and just right there, that play was excellent. And here it is again, once again, the movement, the screen roll, the nice little finish by Chris Webber. But that's the beauty of the game, the screen roll moving, great passing, great finish.
Gray back at the All-Star game as we get ready for halftime. All of the MVPs from all of the All-Star games will be honored along with Harry Connick Jr. singing. I'm joined by a couple of number 6s. Number 6, Bill Russell, and number 6, Julius Erving. Bill, what have you tried to do in recent years to pass on the tradition and what it means to be an All-Star and to conduct yourself in All-Star fashion?
Well, I first of all, I like to watch the games, and I always tell people how much I enjoy the game and how much I respect the players that go out and play hard and use much of their talent as possible.
This will be the first time that you will have been honored without your arch nemesis and also your best friend, Wilt Chamberlain. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I miss him. You know, it's like it was my right arm, because the thing was that our careers were tied so close together, and we were friends, and I miss him genuinely.
Julius, let me ask you. You won the MVP a couple of times, but you won once on a losing team.
Yeah, I did. It was really ironic how that happened, and I guess that was during the days when the voting would go in after 3.5 quarters instead of, with 2 minutes to go. And Rick Barry is still let me have it every now and then, because he and Paul Westphal got hot at the end of the game, and they ended up beating the East squad by 1 point. I was on the bench, however, and I got the MVP.
Gentlemen, nice to see you both, and we look forward to the festivities at halftime.
Hey, keep smiling.
Third 6.
I am.
Third 6. I got in the middle.
Oh, mine's not retired, though. I'm still active. Marv?
All right, thank you, Jim. Coming up at halftime as Carter is able to hit and draws the foul. Ahmad will be joined on the set by Kevin Johnson. PJ Carlesimo as the NBA honors the All-Star Game most valuable players of the past 50 years, and Harry Connick Jr. will perform. Doug, Ahmad did request to sit in with Harry for one of the sets. Harry said, absolutely not. That's coming up. Net 0 at the half. 2:20 remaining in the first half, and the West lead is now down to 5. Kobe Bryant beginning to heat up. He has 9 points. Kobe and Kevin Garnett raising the point as we were listening in on their conversation earlier in this quarter when they were sitting on the bench. Kobe said that 11-0 start had to be a record for any team in an All-Star game. It's very difficult to chase that down, but in the 1961 All-Star game, the West did lead 47-19 after the first quarter, which is the most lopsided score we've been able to locate. All right, here's Carter. Oh, put down by Antonio Davis.
Great follow that time. Antonio Davis has really settled down early in the game. He couldn't get anything to go. Now he's gotten to the offensive boards. Tim Duncan is going to get the offensive foul, and Stackhouse steps in. So, Marv, it's a little bit, they're creeping back into this game after a slow start. You see Larry Brown coaching, trying to get his team into a set play here.
Larry up off the bench, working the sideline. It's a 51-46 West lead. Anthony Mason posting up. Harry Stackhouse with a hustle rebound. And Duncan with the steal. Here's Kidd pushing it. Webber. Mason with the rebound. Eluding Garnett and Duncan, and then delivers. Carter with the windmill.
I think that jumper's knee is feeling better. Look at Shaq. I think he's happy that he's sitting over there watching right now.
51-48, the East within 3. A minute left in the half. Garnett served up by Weber.
Now these are big guys passing to each other. That's not a point guard making that play. Those are big guys making that little soft pass, that powerful finish.
Sprewell with the step, and that's a goaltend. The basket will count and a foul.
This is what people want to see. The great pass from Anthony Mason. Jason Kidd said, I'm not getting near this. Vince Carter makes it look so easy.
A form of expression from Vince. And the West now leads 53-50 with 45 seconds remaining in this first half. Kidd trying to go behind the back, broken up by Sprewell. The all-time series in favor of the East, 31-18 last season. In Oakland, the Golden State Warriors, the host team of the West, beat the East 137-126. The East had won the previous 3 contests. Kevin Garnett will throw in. Kidd got the step. Here's Duncan. Oh, he blew the layup. Garnett keeps it alive. Here's Kidd for 3. Yes.
But if you can't make the layup, step out and shoot the 3. Jason Kidd, normally not a good three-point shooter, but has worked very hard to add that aspect of his game.
The West leading by 6. The pass work much more fluid by the East here in the second quarter. Oh, Carter tried to change direction. Broken up by Davis, recovered by Weber, went behind the back. Kidd lays it home for Duncan. A spectacular pass play by the West. Final seconds of the half. Carter's pass stolen. Here's Kidd from center court. Yes! Jason Kidd at the buzzer to end the first half.
What a sensational run by the West to end this half, Mark. The 3 from the corner by Kidd, the sensational passing and the dunk followed up by the shot at the end of the half. A little 8-0 spurt here that pushed it back out to an 11-point lead. But here's Jason Kidd recognizing the clock. He's behind the half-court line, lets it go. Kobe looks like he's going to touch it. He lets it go, lets it know it's a 3-point play, 3-point shot. But Jason Kidd, back-to-back threes, the great passing, and once again they lead by 11, Marv.
And the West concludes with an 8-0 run to finish out the half, and Jason Kidd, who concluded in spectacular fashion, scored 6 of those 8 points. Let's go to Jim and Jason Kidd.
All right, thank you, Marv. Couple of big threes. How about that one that you just threw in there at the end?
I think I left it at the 2 ball yesterday. I was saving it. I'm glad I knocked down that last shot, gave us some momentum going into halftime. But overall, we're having fun, and let those guys keep rebounding.
You've been passing the ball awful well, too. What's it like trying to get everybody involved? I know you normally do, but not quite the same selection of guys out there.
Ooh, no, it's not. And, they're a talented bunch of guys, and we have fun. And, the Olympics, so I have to get it to, like, Karl Malone, the guys I never got the chance to pass to. So I'm having a good time, and the big guys, we want them to play the point, and I'll be the big guy. So we're having fun.
All right, Jason, good luck in the second half. Let's go across the way to Lewis Johnson.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim. Vince, the West team is walking off the floor, and they're jawing about that last ball that dropped in the bomb. How intense is this thing?
We want to have fun, but yet, in the back of our minds, we all want to win. We want to have a good time and beat each other to death, so it's fun.
Now, I'm watching you with this spectacular dunk, and thinking back to last night, are you sure you couldn't have been in that dunk contest?
I don't know. I feel good for the game. You get warm, but, it's a chance I didn't want to take, but next year.
How much fun is it to play in an all-star game like this, man?
I have a great time. A lot of these guys I admire as players, and I come out here to play with them. It's just the best feeling.
All right. I know you want to get to the locker room. Thanks a lot. Marv.
All right. Thanks, Lewis. The high point then, Tim Duncan, 12 points. Michael Finley with 10. Ray Allen leading the East with 11. Stay with us for Ahmad, Kevin, and PJ. Net zero at the half. Coming up, you're watching the NBA on NBC. Welcome back to the MCI Center. This is the first NBA All-Star game played in Washington, D.C. It's been played in Baltimore. It was back in 1969 in Landover, Maryland, and 1980. And the West with a 61-50 lead on the East. Rick Adelman, head coach of the West from the Sacramento Kings. Second All-Star appearance as a head coach. Handled the West squad while with Portland in 1991. This West team incidentally lost to the East by 2 points.
Well, Marv, when you talk about these two coaches, think about the jobs they've done. Larry Brown goes into Philly. That franchise was in disarray. And Pat Croce hires him. He comes in. He and Billy King, they start putting the pieces together of that team. And Larry Brown has got the kind of guys there that he wants to coach. They're playing defense. They're playing together. They know that Iverson is the star. And if they can get healthy, they're going to be a tough out in the Eastern Conference. And in Rick Adelman and Jeff Petrie, the job they have done in Sacramento putting that team together, these guys deserve a lot of credit.
And Larry Brown, as Kobe Bryant opens up by hitting the jumper. Larry coaching in his 5th All-Star game. Coached in the ABA All-Star game 3 times. NBA All-Star game once back in 1977. He was head coach of the Denver Nuggets. Larry was actually, the alley-oop did not kick. Larry was actually most valuable player of the 1968 ABA All-Star game. The West by 13. They've led by as many as 16.
And you can see what's happened. Mutombo is starting the second half. He did such a great job. When he came in, the game turned. He had 8 rebounds, which really gave the East a chance to get back into the game.
24-second violation, something you don't expect to see at an All-Star game.
See, Mutombo takes away a lot of those easy baskets inside. They have such respect for him. They're always looking for him. Early in the game, they weren't looking for him. They got up to a great 11-0 start, so they need his defense to anchor their middle.
Latrell Sprewell starting the second half. In the backcourt with Allen Iverson. Here's Tracy McGrady. Nice play by Kobe Bryant to poke it aside. Bad pass. McGrady on the intercept. Kidd able to break it up. Bad pass by Bryant. Here comes Iverson. Duncan is back. Allen Iverson, who leads the NBA in minutes played. And then Glenn Robinson on the follow. Second field goal for Robinson. He has 4 points.
Actually, Glenn Robinson playing as a power forward right now along that front line with Mutombo.
Kevin Garnett of the red-hot Minnesota Timberwolves. How about the T-Wolves?
Well,
11 straight wins.
Boy, Flip Saunders, you've got to talk about him as possible coach of the year. Terrell Brandon, the job he's done as Glenn Robinson makes a little baseline jumper. But all the things that Minnesota franchise has gone through with Joe Smith, the tragic death of Malik Sealy. For them to do the things they have done have been sensational, Marv. They've been a real inspirational story in the NBA this season.
Iverson off the steal for Sprewell, but too far.
This is where, as a coach, you got to look at the guys and say, look, we're getting real sloppy. Had a great first half. The game is getting very sloppy now. Let's make the good play. We want to have fun, but let's make the simple play here for a while.
Talking about Dikembe Mutombo, not only was he controlling the boards, but he was altering shots. Sprewell for 3. Last touch by the West. So Larry Brown going with a different lineup to start the second half. He has Mutombo, Robinson, and McGrady on the front line. Iverson and Sprewell at the guards. Iverson picking his way. And a loose ball foul called by Ed Rush. It's against the East. The ball back to the West, foul on Sprewell.
Every shot in the lane for the East is a degree of difficulty shot. Nothing easy. You got shot blockers in there. They're forcing a lot of changes.
Jason Kidd lost it. Iverson, 3-on-1. Iverson changed his mind. And back comes Duncan. The look away from Kidd to set it up. Won't count, foul call before. The shot attempt, it's on Mutombo.
The great hands of Chris Webber. Marv, you and I have spoken so often. I said, if you could put an ideal player together, vision, eyes, hands, and all those kind of things. Chris Webber, to me, would be the guy with the hands. Look at him, fake the pass, bring it back around and find Kobe. The foul was committed, so they'll get it sideline out of bounds, but he is a terrific passer.
Bryant trying to work off the pick. Bryant with the spin for Garnett. And another rebound for Mutombo. That's number 10.
And once again, changed the shot around the basket.
Here comes Kidd. Oh, Webber from Garnett.
A little sleight of hand there.
67-54. The West up by 13. Bryant looking for the steal. It's called for the tripping foul. Kobe Bryant playing despite the injured right shoulder, right hip. Kobe leading the NBA, averaging just under 30 points per game.
Well, so much conversation about the Lakers in the first half of the season. They have 16 losses. That's one more than they had the entire last year. But, you know, if you look at their team, Marv, I expect them to play much better in the second half of the year. I think Shaq is going to come back better, and I think you're going to expect this guy, Kobe, to be better.
Whoa!
And with all that's been going on out there in the West, nobody's created any distance.
Do you look for these guys to work it out?
Yes, absolutely. I think Shaq has gone on record as saying, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be in better shape. I think Kobe's going to play the kind of defense that he played last year. He and Shaq were much better defenders than they were the early part of this year. Last year, both all-league defenders. Here's Kobe Bryant in the open floor, looking behind him to see what's coming. He sees Kevin Garnett with a spectacular finish, but I expect them both to play much better in the second half, Mark.
Latrell Sprewell going up against his good friend, Chris Webber. A little game within the game, but Sprewell was not able to hit. Now Sprewell defending on Webber. Webber beats him off the dribble, but Mutombo is there to rescue. Here comes Sprewell. Iverson. Allen Iverson taking it to the basket. Now the West on the transition, try to catch the East, but they do get back. Open shot for Kidd. And Jason Kidd hits from downtown. He concluded matters at the half with a three. And Jason Kidd, a guy who's trying to come to grips with his recent off-the-court issues in his life, which have obviously attracted much nationwide negative publicity.
Well, Marv, I live in Arizona, and I've watched Jason Kidd and his wife, and I've watched the way they've handled the situation, and he stepped forward, and he says, look, I was wrong. I embarrassed myself, my family, my team. My wife and I are going to work through this. We're going to be better for it. And he stepped forward, and he's been a man. And you know what? That's what you have to do. And I applaud him for that. And he knows he did wrong, and he's working on it to get it better, he and his family.
14-point lead for the West, and they're adding to it. 11 points for Webber. 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. The West matching its biggest lead of the night. Jason Kidd has had an outstanding game. Kidd has hit a couple from downtown. Now Kidd looking to back Iverson. Webber for three. Duncan. Tim Duncan has 14.
Now that ball I don't think hit the rim, and they reset the shot clock. I think that's what Larry Brown is talking to Danny Crawford about it right now. It's why did they get a new shot clock?
Iverson. And it's put home by Mutombo.
How about Allen Iverson? This guy takes a beating during the course of a game. He challenged big guys. How often do you see him hit the floor hard?
Webber stopped by Mutombo, and a foul is called. Timeout is taken with 5:04 to go in the third. It's the West by 16. Back in Washington, D.C., Marv Albert with 4-time All-Star Doug Collins, 1-time All-Star coach back in '97.
What a great thrill. I will never forget walking in that locker room and looking around and seeing the greatness of these players and having a chance to coach the winning team. And I'll never forget in that game, we were down 20 early, And I called on Michael, and I said, Michael, now remember, the winners get $12,000, the losers $6,000. He said, oh, okay. And in about 5 minutes, the game was even. So I knew which button to push, Marv.
What was your pregame talk like? Springwell got the step, and the West now leads 77-62. I mean, did you bother to try and go out and set any kind of strategy?
The one thing I talked about is just don't let the game get too sloppy. I want you to be excited and have fun and make great plays, but make sure that it doesn't get so sloppy that the fans can't enjoy it.
Robinson. Well, a couple of buckets by the East. Glenn Robinson of the Bucks with 8 points, and the West now leading 77-64. Coming up on 4 minutes left in the third. Mutombo with the box out. That's rebound number 13. It will be East ball. Substitution. Stephon Marbury of the Nets. Ray Allen of the Bucks. Anthony Mason of the Heat. Antonio Davis of the Raptors. Allen Houston of the Knicks. Checking in a new 5 on the court for Larry Brown.
Well, it's going to be imperative now for the Eastern Conference. Somebody's got to rebound the basketball because Mutombo was doing all the work on the backboards. Now, whether it's Anthony Mason or Antonio Davis, Allen Houston, Ray Allen, all these guys got to get back there because of the size disadvantage. That's an area that they've got to try to stay in the game.
Marbury played by Payton, who just checked back in. Here's Houston. And Davis kept it alive. Allen on a quick release for 3. Duncan put the move on Davis. Davis able to slap away. And here's Houston for the East. Marbury. Allen now being played by Weber. Goes right at him. Tried the left hand. Garnett for Bryant.
Now remember, about 2 minutes ago, Kobe gave one up to the backboard to Garnett. It's like, back at you here. It's my turn to give you the pass.
13 for Kobe. The West leads by 15. Davis. Garnett. A lot of mismatches out there. Kevin Garnett posting up on Allen Houston.
Well, you're not going to see double teaming in this game. You don't have the defensive scheme, so Allen Houston's got to try to keep him from getting the basketball because once he does, it's too late.
And it's Garnett defending on Houston. Goes to the pullback move. He loves that shot. And certainly enjoyed hitting against Kevin Garnett.
Well, remember, those two guys were teammates this summer on the Olympic team, so they had a lot of wonderful times together. A little smile there. KG says, I'll take you inside. And Allen says, well, I'm taking you outside, as the spectacular finish by Kobe Bryant. There's still something in those legs.
Hey, man, you know what? I had a bet with my cousin how many times he's gonna hit the floor tonight.
That was only one.
That's the first time.
That's it.
I got 3. I got 3. Help me win the bet.
Allen Iverson out of the Charles Oakley School of hitting the floor. And Allen Iverson's so durable, but a guy who is always getting banged around, maybe 155 pounds.
Well, you think about, how much more punishment he's going to take before they even get to the playoffs, and he's such a vital part of that team. They've had so many injuries, Mark, that they just cannot afford to lose him. They got to get everybody healthy and keep him healthy going into the playoffs.
The West shooting 47% for the night. The East just under 40, and the West leading by 15. Marbury. Pass to himself. He deflected it off Divac, who had turned his head. It's a good idea.
Bloody said, okay, I'll get you back. I thought he was trying to shoot that. I didn't know he was passing it to himself.
A little schoolyard play by Stephon Marbury, and now coughed it up. Divac off the steal. Divac working on Allen, finding Finley. Here's McDyess. Antonio McDyess of the Denver Nuggets.
The West just comes in. Look at the power. Look at the size of those players, Mark. We talked about it in our open. I mean, they just come in and they just keep reloading with either Olympians or, guys who've been at all pros. I don't know if I've ever seen a team so deep along the front line.
And this is without Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, McDyess stopped from behind. Ray Allen with the block. McDyess couldn't believe it. Houston with the save. Recovered by Payton. Wild pass by Payton, but last touched by the East.
Once again, the great passing. McDyess thinks he's got a dunk, and his old Olympic teammate Ray Allen says, don't cock that thing back and let me get a piece of it. And he's doing a little talking himself.
Wallace. Marbury ahead of the field. Well, that is unusual. Little layup by Stephon.
I'm surprised he didn't get booed for laying the ball in the basket. These fans want to see some dunks.
The West 85 and the East 70. Down to 25 seconds remaining in the third. Divac. Lonnie Divac with the layup.
Marv, it's going to be very interesting to watch Sacramento in the second half of the season. The way they finished going into the All-Star break, I thought was very disappointing. They lose to the Lakers without Shaq in a big game. They go to Milwaukee, get beat, and then go to Minnesota and get blown out, down 41-10 at the end of the first quarter. They come back. They're looking at Utah, at Portland. They could go from first in the West to fifth, as McDyess with the finish, but they could go from first to fifth in 5 games.
Yes, it's been a grueling road trip for the Kings, who have lost 3 in a row. Here's another look at that most unique maneuver by Stephon Marbury. I don't know if he actually made contact with Divac. All right, we'll be back after these words from your local station. You see some of the broadcasters. There's the Turkish edition of Doug Collins right there. Fourth quarter is underway, and the West up by 19 points. Here's Marbury for 3. Well, they say it too. Don Bates said he had the foot on the line.
Well, the East needs a little surge right here, and they've got to do it with their defense, force some turnovers, get out and run.
All right, Divac shoots the 3. Ray Allen. It's a game that saw the West immediately jump in front by the score of 11-0. They had a 16-point lead in the first half. Antonio McDyess showing the outside touch. He now has 6, and the West up by 19 with a minute gone by in the fourth. Jerry Stackhouse. Anthony Mason for Stackhouse. And he was stopped by Divac.
Again, every shot challenged at the basket, Marv.
All right, let's check in again with Jim Gray. Jim?
Thank you very much, Marv. Well, you talk about international broadcasters. We're going to have a broadcast team here right now. Kobe Bryant speaks 3 languages, so he's going to do a little Italian for us, and Shaquille O'Neal is going to analyze this game in English. So, Kobe, take over.
Abbiamo Allen Iverson con la palla adesso. Vince Carter sta palleggiando.
Oh, he's extraordinary with the ball. And he misses. Dikembe with the ball.
Rasheed Wallace adesso. Balla fuori campo.
You got to analyze this, Shaq. He's doing a play-by-play, so give us a little analysis here.
What does that mean, analyze?
Oh, Marv Albert in your comments. All right. Allen Iverson adesso palleggiando la palla. Vince Carter. Oh, Allen Iverson a canestro. Passa, Mutombo, Stackhouse adesso, ma chi tira? Karen, la bomba, non va. Mutombo.
Goaltending. They should have called that goaltending. Italian.
You know what? I don't think we have a future in broadcasting. I think we just...
Son Soto, Morocco, Son Toto.
we need to send it back to Doug and Marv, man. We need to stick to on the court.
Look at Kenny.
All right, guys. Well, the good news is they may not be speaking the same language, but they're communicating very well. Guys, good luck in the second half of the season.
Good job, Kenny.
I don't know. I like that call, La Bamba. I think Kobe had it down. Shaq, I thought, was confused. He's the color man. He's also doing play-by-play. 9.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Iverson. It's a 93-74 lead for the West. And the West now with Gary Payton at the point. Here's Vlade Divac, stopped by Dikembe Mutombo. Nice dish. Finley can't hit. Finley again. That time he was able to beat Mutombo.
Isn't it amazing? The minute Dikembe comes into the game, it's like you just cannot get around the basket. That guy so alters the game.
Vince Carter is back. Iverson and Allen in the backcourt. Stackhouse up front along with Carter and Mutombo. Foul is called. Timeout taken. 8:55 remaining in the fourth. La Bamba.
Lewis Johnson back at the All-Star game, and I'm joined by a man who would love to be playing tonight, but unfortunately still managing this kidney disorder. Alonzo, the most important question, how is your health right now?
My health is okay. It's not where I wanted to be. Let me tell you what, my biggest challenge has really been having to be patient, to tell you the truth. Listening to my doctors, not the disease, but just having to gain a certain amount of patience.
The amazing thing to me, Alonzo, is you didn't play any games this year, but still over 900,000 fans voted for you to be at this game. What does that say to you?
Man, I was flattered, number one, you know, and I want to thank everybody out there who voted for me. It lets me know that a lot of people out there appreciate the efforts and the work that I put forth in the past on this court, you know, and that goes, I guess it went a long way with them.
Now, you've gotten busy with your foundation, and I've heard some stories about players and managers and agents pitching in, Cubans giving $50,000, guys contributing game checks. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got a lot of help and support from the guys in the league, as well as the owner, Mickey Harrison. He donated $100,000, you know, and our main focus right now is pretty much try to raise as much money as possible, and I'm matching every dollar that's being donated. Raise as much money as possible. People who are less fortunate than we are, you know, we've been blessed to be put in the situation we're in now. I tried to open up an avenue, you know, a doorway where they can go in and try to give back, you know, and this is giving us an opportunity to help those who are dealing with this disease, to help them who can't afford the medications, at the same time to educate doctors and to try to find a cure for the disease.
Any chance you think you'll get back on the court next year?
It's in God's hands, and I've been praying to him every night, you know, but evidently he doesn't want me to play basketball right now. There's some other things that he wants me to do, but when it's time, he's going to let me know.
All right, from all of us at NBC, we wish you a speedy recovery and good luck with everything, Alonzo.
Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you, Lewis. Incidentally, Alonzo celebrated his 31st birthday this past Friday with fans over at the jam session here in town.
You know, Marv, I was with him most of the summer when he was over playing in the Olympics, and I had no idea at all that he was sick. And I mean, you couldn't see it in the way he played or the way he practiced, the way he came to do things every day. But I will tell you this, and being around him most of the summer, I got to see such a different side of him. We see the warrior, we see his competitiveness, but I got to see a gentle spirit and a really a great guy. And we all wish him well and get back out as soon as possible.
Yes. Here's Allen, able to finish in the East in the midst of a run. So they cut it down to 14 with 7:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Alonzo Mourning also recently donated $50,000 to the foundation that Dikembe Mutombo has set up. Dikembe now halfway to his goal of raising $15 million to build that 300-bed hospital in his native Congo, his target to break ground in September. 7-0 run by the East. Gary Payton sits down, replaced by Jason Kidd. 5 on the shot clock. Michael Finley just took a shot from Allen Iverson. Both shaken up. Here's Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse of the Detroit Pistons, averaging 29 a game. That's number 3 in scoring in the NBA. That's a 9-0 run off the 2 by Stackhouse, and it's now 95-83. The West lead is 12.
You can see right now the East really scrambling, helping each other out on defense. Mutombo inside, changing the shots, and if they can do this and get out and run, still plenty of time to get back in this game.
Iverson met by Robinson, had to pull it back. Here's Allen.
That would have been big there. That would have cut it to 8.
Jason Kidd looking to put a move on Ray Allen. Here's David Robinson, and bottled up and fouled.
See, David Robinson is a left-handed player, but when you close out on him, you have to play him as a righty. He always drives to his right hand, and it's very difficult to do that because you're so used to him shooting that ball with his left hand.
Foul number 4 on Mutombo. Reminder, next Sunday, starting at 12 noon Eastern, a star-studded NBA tripleheader coming your way. Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, Karl Malone, Chris Webber, and much, much more leading the way, and then capping it all off in the nightcap. It's Kobe and the Lakers going up against Reggie Miller and the Pacers. That's next Sunday. Tripleheader starting 12 noon Eastern time. And a reminder, join TBS this coming Tuesday night. The Sacramento Kings travel to Salt Lake City to face the Utah Jazz. That's an 8 o'clock Eastern start. So it's now an 11-1 run off the bucket by Carter. 13 points for Carter. 96-85. The West with the lead, coming up on 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Robinson. David Robinson has 8 points.
Well, just to follow up on that King-Jazz game, Karl Malone went to Rick Adelman. He says, Coach, he said, you don't have to play me anymore the rest of the day. Let these younger guys play. They play each other their first game out, so Rick Adelman said, fine. So Karl Malone will not play anymore today.
Finley. Oh, put home by McDyess. Here's Karl Malone, the NBA's greatest power forward of all time. Two-time MVP. MVP of the 89 All-Star game and co-most valuable player back in 93.
The interesting thing to me about Karl Malone is to read all of his quotes this week. He went through a stage and he even said it. I was a little bit anti-league, anti-All-Star game. As I'm getting older, I understand how important it is for me to be behind all these things, and you've seen him be very involved this week.
And the West leading now 100-90. How about Dikembe Mutombo? 19 rebounds in 23 minutes. Here's Kidd. And make it rebound number 20. The last player with 20 rebounds in an All-Star game. Charles Barkley with 21 in 1991. 100-93. The East hanging around. Carter now has 16 points.
Look at the level of the defense start to pick up now. The game is in the balance. Both teams want to win.
Finley lost it. Recovered by Robinson. And he's fouled. There are 9 voters taking part in the MVP poll. I see you are on the list, Mr. Collins.
Nobody's come over here, though, to try to sway me in any way.
See the ballot?
Yeah. I'll have to wait and see here if anybody tries to come over. And
are you expecting some lobbyists to drop by? We are in the nation's capital.
Everybody's got a price. You know that.
Now look at the leading scorers. Oh, really? For the East, Carter, 16, 15 apiece for Iverson and Allen. Duncan leading the way with 14. Bryant with 13. Now Kobe posting on Marbury. Here comes Iverson. Bryant. It's only a 7-point game with 4.5 to go. Iverson, does he get the continuation? Yes, he does. It counts, and the foul. And it's down to a 5-point West lead.
I love this, the fact that it got down to this point in the game, 5 minutes to go. The game is in the balance. You're going to see the competitive nature of every one of these players now surface. Allen Iverson with the great drive to finish, the opportunity now for a 3-point play, which he gets. It's now a 4-point game. And Marv, the difference is, after 15 turnovers in the first half, the East have only 5 here in the second. That's why they're back in this game.
It's a 22-5 run by the East. What a job by Dikembe Mutombo. Put him on the MVP candidate list. It's 21 rebounds for Mutombo, and Larry Brown wants to talk it over. A timeout taken by the Eastern Conference squad. 4:15 remaining. All right, the East with 4 seconds to get it across with the shot clock running down with no problem at all, no pressure at all from the West. And then a foul is called. It's on Bryant. 4:11 remaining in the fourth quarter. Couple of aspects at stake. The game and MVP honors. You see Duncan, 14 and 12. Mutombo, 21 rebounds. Iverson to the line with the West over the foul limit. The all-time All-Star game record, most rebounds in a single game. held by Bob Pettit of the old St. Louis Hawks. He had 27 in the All-Star game back in 1962. And Dikembe Mutombo right now has 21.
The game is on now, Marv. The game is on.
It's a 2-point game in the East in possession. Carter putting the ball on Garnett. Carter could not put it down.
A little excited there, trying to get that back too quickly. Got to get good shots now.
Kidd and Bryant in the backcourt. Duncan, Weber, and Garnett up front. Duncan stopped by Mutombo, and a foul. And the crowd reacts. That's number 5 on Dikembe.
Dikembe has changed this whole game. He's now guarding Duncan. You don't have to help out, so if they're going to go to him, Mutombo's got him locked up down there. His rebounding, his shot blocking, he is giving his team a chance to win this game now.
Here's the double on Bryant. Mutombo altered that shot. Here comes Iverson. Kidd is back. Iverson. Rebound McGrady. And the game is tied at 100. And this crowd is now very much into it. Garnett. Yes. The West by 2.
It's going to be very difficult for them to go to Duncan because he's being played by Mutombo, so they could go to Garnett, who's being played by McGrady, or maybe Weber, who's being played by Carter.
Iverson for 3. Allen Iverson will often have bad shooting games, but he'll come up and hit the big shots. He hit a big one here. The East up by 1. It's the first time they've led. Kidd for 3. Kidd able to keep it alive. 2:25 remaining in the 4th. Bryant. Kobe able to recover. Oh, that's a dangerous pass. Duncan is on it, though. Here's Weber. Yes.
Now 4 possessions. What happened, Marv, on that situation? The East were leaking out to try to run. You've got to first get the rebound. Mutombo's telling his teammates, somebody's got to help me in here.
West is led by as many as 21. Nice pass. Carter trying to get it back. Here comes Kidd. Iverson with the steal, but he stepped out of bounds. Allen Iverson with 13 of his 23 points in the 4th quarter.
You can see why Larry Brown loves this guy. Watch him. Comes from nowhere. Tries to tightrope along that sideline. But Marvin, you said it so perfectly a while ago as he steps out of bounds. The other night in the Garden, he was having a horrible shooting night. Hit, I think, 2 or 3 shots late to win that game. He will keep attacking you.
In that game, he hit 3 straight from downtown. Carter with the steal. Iverson on the run. Iverson gets it off, draws the foul. Foul called on Bryant. That is his 3rd. The West already over the limit. 3 team fouls on the East.
Well, the East has heard all year long the West is better. The West is deeper. The West has got all the big players. You know what? Right now, it's a tie game. Iverson has a chance to put his team in the lead. So this is a big game for them. They want to show, don't discount the Eastern Conference.
Iverson, 82% free throw shooter. So the East takes a 1-point lead. A minute 35 remaining in the 4th quarter. Bryant being chased. Bryant able to hit. Marbury chased him down, but Bryant still hit. And the West up by 1. Stephon Marbury handling against Jason Kidd and wants a timeout.
Little strategy here now. Larry Brown's taking a 20. Wants to get a play here together so they make sure they get a good shot.
Allen Iverson has been the story for the East. 15 of his 25 in the 4th quarter.
Well, great players make great plays. Kobe Bryant going off the screen of Tim Duncan, pulls up, and he knows he cannot get to the basket because there is Mount Mutombo. He's been there the entire 4th period, and that little medium-range jump shot gives his team once again a 1-point lead.
Down to a minute 18 remaining in the fourth quarter. So it's the West 106, the East 105. It is Eastern Conference ball. 1:15 left in the fourth. Carter for three. Vince Carter having his difficulties down the stretch.
So he's got to play with Kevin Garnett with a hand in his face. Kevin Garnett 6'11" with that long reach, so he's not going to get any easy shots.
Bryant, yes, Kobe Bryant with 2 clutch buckets. He now has 17. The West leads by 3. Marbury for 3, yes! And he's tied the game at 1:08.
And Kobe Bryant wants the ball once again. He's made the last 2 baskets. They double him and force him to give it up. Jason Kidd might have to shoot the ball here as Iverson is just leaving him wide open.
Bryant.
Oh, that is unbelievable. Mutombo ran out at him. 3 unbelievable shots in a row here by Kobe Bryant.
A stirring finish to this 50th NBA All-Star game. The West by 2. Marbury for 3 again. Stephon Marbury has given the East a 1-point lead. 25 seconds to go. In the fourth quarter, Kobe Bryant has scored the last 6 points for the West. Here's the double on Kobe.
They have a foul to give. The East does. So if they let this wind down, they can take a foul.
3-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. There's the foul given by Marbury.
What sensational shooting, clutch shooting. Kobe Bryant with the outside jump shot. Marbury comes back and one-ups him with the 3. This once again ties the game. And Kobe again with another answer. This time, Mutombo comes flying at him, gets a hand up. He really can't even see the basket, and again knocks it down. And Marbury comes back, spectacular shooting. Stephon Marbury steps back behind the 3, buries another one. The East by 1, 10.9 seconds remaining.
Well, still 10 and 9/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter, but here are the results of the NBA.com polling for most valuable player. We were talking about guys from the West earlier, but the East turning it around, coming back from a 21-point deficit. So Allen Iverson leading the way. How about Stephon Marbury with the clutch shooting down the stretch, along with Kobe Bryant?
Well, now with Jason Kidd staying on the floor, it'll be interesting to see if Iverson runs off of him, goes to Kobe, forces Kobe to pass, and maybe make Jason Kidd take the shot.
All right, here's Kidd. The East up by 1. Down to 5. Marbury guarding Bryant. Down to 3. Marbury trying to get to Bryant. Duncan came up short, and it's over. The East comes from 21 down to defeat the West. They outscore the West 41-21 in the fourth quarter.
Marv, that's one of the best All-Star games I've ever seen. Just the big plays, getting back in the game. And you know what? Mutombo, probably not going to get the MVP, but he gave his team a chance to win, and for Marbury and Iverson to shine at the end of that game and give them a chance to win this basketball game. Look who changed the shot, Mutombo, and then here's Vince Carter on the rotation coming over, getting a piece of Duncan's shot. And the East is very, very excited. Down 21, they come back and get the win.
There's the last opportunity by Duncan. Weber had a crack at it, not able to hit on the reverse. Dikembe Mutombo finished in his 28 minutes with 22 rebounds, 3 blocked shots.
Marv, don't tell me these guys don't care about winning. When that game was on the line, you saw exactly the competitive instincts come out.
And Allen Iverson, 25 points in his 27 minutes, along with 5 assists. Let's go to Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thank you very much, Marv. It is now time to present this game's MVP, and to make that presentation, here's the Commissioner, David Stern.
Allen, you showed tonight, along with a spectacular cast of the world's greatest ball players, why NBA action is so fantastic. It shows why we know that great play can be wrapped, you'll pardon the expression, in very small packages. Congratulations, the MVP of the 2001 All-Star Game.
of the world's greatest players here tonight, and you are the star of stars. That's got to feel extra special, especially being home.
It's definitely special. Where's my coach? Where's my coach? Coach Brown. Is he around? This is a tribute to Coach Brown, my teammates, my family, my friends, all the fans that been loving me from day one. Just is a tribute to them. I cherish this for the rest of my life. I'm out here playing with the greatest players in the world. I'm at my second home, my home away from home. Coach Tom said, I love you. Ma, I love you. Tiara, Tawana, my kids, I love you.
All right, congratulations, man, on a great performance.
All right, thanks.
All right, let's go back to Marv.
All right, thank you, Ahmad. A magnificent homecoming. He's from Hampton, Virginia. Allen Iverson leading that 37-15 run by the East to run it out and win by one after trailing by as many as 21. Again, the final score in an All-Star Classic. The East 111, the West 110, coming up on NBC, except on the West Coast. It's The Truman Show, starring Jim Carrey. For Doug Collins, Jim Cray, Lewis Johnson, Ahmad Rashad, Kevin Johnson, DJ Carlissimo. I'm Marv Albert. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the 50th NBA All-Star Game on NBC.